on, baby.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is Tanek127, and welcome back to Tanek FPS. And guys, I know it's been over 10 days since I've made a video. My apologies. Just been working on a lot of MMOs over on the main channel. But we are back, and I wanted to talk to you guys about some settings for one of the newest free-to-play battle royales out, Off the Grid. Now, Off the Grid is currently free-to-play in early access on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X. If you own an Xbox Series S, you do not have access to Off the Grid yet. My logical guess is probably because they're still working on optimizing that version, which is kind of the reason I'm making this video. Because it's rough on the Series X and the PS5, so I can only imagine it'll be more rough on the S, hence why it's not here. So, you know, if you're on a Series S, there's some information with you right there. Two things I'm going to harp on a lot in this video is video and graphics quality and sound. I'll go over my controls and, you know, like sensitivity settings lightly, but my honest recommendation for sensitivity is go in a shooting range and, you know, find a sensitivity that is good for you, because taking somebody's sensitivity off the rip, I don't think that's a wise idea. Everybody's different, and, you know, you got to get used to things yourself. But anyway, I'll go over my control sensitivities real quick, just for, you know, for those who want a solid foundation of maybe this is somewhere you can start. My controller horizontal and vertical 3.6. My aim sensitivities are all at 2.12. Now these are definitely slower sensitivities, you know, for more precise aiming. So if you're someone who's looking for something a little bit faster, you'll probably want to jump up from that. Me personally, I like my horizontal and vertical even. I know some people like vertical a little bit slower and horizontal a little bit faster. That's just not personally for me. Everybody's different, like I said earlier in the video. So yeah, Tune knows how you like them. That's just my recommendation. I wouldn't take those directly off of anybody. Now, first and foremost, Off the Grid has two major issues right now that I'm seeing, besides, you know, like early game bugs and stuff like that. It's early access title, so we're not going to harp too much on that. There's audio issues and there's, you know, graphical quality issues. I'm going to show you guys some recommended settings I do to bump those down. Now, one thing you'll notice when you get into gunfights, especially, you know, against a lot of people, you'll notice that the sound starts to like crackle and stuff like that. Me personally, I've turned my sound effects down to about 85, so, you know, you can still hear it, but that way, you know, that crackling and stuff like that isn't so crazy. Another thing I also recommend doing, especially if you're playing on monitors and you have external speakers hooked up, use something like soundbar or home cinema or headphones. Me personally, soundbar works best with mine. It'll spread the sound out more and clear up, you know, some of that crackliness that you hear with some of like the gunfights, you know, when they get really intense and there's a lot of people around and stuff like that. It's not going to eliminate it 100%, but it definitely tones it down a bit, makes it a lot more bearable. Now, last but not least, for settings, one other thing I'm going to recommend is your frame rate limit, especially for you guys playing on 120 Hz monitors on consoles. Stick to around 75 or even cap yourself at 60. I would say cap it at 75, you know, to give that 60 plus some breathing room, so that way, you know, the game's fighting to keep a more stable frame rate rather than always dipping below 60. But that's because the 120 and the unlimited FPS, which, you know, isn't even a realistic option on console, there's just too many drops. You know, it's Unreal Engine 5, it's still got a lot of optimization work to be done. You're not going to be getting a solid 120 on a Series X, and especially a PS5, not a lot. PS5, no offense to PlayStation, but it has a weaker CPU, than the Series X. So, trust me, just, you know, stick to around that 75 area, so that way, you know, your console will always, you know, just strive to give you that solid at least 60 frames per second. Once they optimize the game more, then we can look into that. VSync on, so, you know, that way, you know, you're not dealing with as much screen tearing. There's nothing worse than, you know, frame dips and getting screen tearing. Might as well not punish yourself to both. I know it would sound logical to turn VSync off and try to get as many frames as you can, but, you know, the frame drops plus the screen tearing, trust me, it's just not something you're going to want in a shooter. Obviously, turn off motion blur. You know, you don't want anything blurred. It's a shooter. You want to clear as possible. And HDR output right now, using HDR, I would keep that off, because HDR is simply, you know, just going to add more strain to add additional gameplay quality and stuff like that. So I will leave HDR right now. So the simple video settings, frame rate limit 75, VSync on. You know, of course, if you're colorblind, stuff like that, adjust that to your own. But guys, that's pretty much it. And hopefully this helps y'all in terms of optimization. Let me know if it helps you down in the comments below. Y'all enjoyed today's video? Smash that like. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.